where I want to talk about keeping track of your balance and recording interest and fees. I've been in banking for 20 plus years, and there are times where vendors will make mistakes with your bank account. There are times when I say vendors, when people who are supposed to take money from your bank account, there may be mistakes. They may take money out twice. Sometimes when you're thinking you're signing up for one service and you end up signing up for another, and then they're automatically taking money out of your account every single month. If you are not looking at your bank account on a frequent basis, you could add, we've seen this. We have my colleagues on the call, Reggie and Laura, and all of us have seen where there will be a company that will charge an individual's bank account over the course of 6 months. And it's an unauthorized charge, but the person they didn't catch it because they weren't looking at their accounts on a regular basis. And because there are certain rules that banks are guided by with how long you have to be able to submit a fraud claim, to submit a claim if something was unauthorized or you don't recognize the charge and you want your money back. Banks can only look back but so far. So if you're letting months go by without reviewing your bank account, you are putting yourself at risk for potentially having money being taken out of your account that you may not have authorized, but you may not be able to get your money back. So it's very important just to kind of keep track of that. You also want to make sure, like, if somebody was supposed to pay you, whether it's your employer or an individual or a company that was supposed to give you a refund, did they process those? Did they say that they were even though they said they were going to do it, did they actually do it? So that's why it's important to do that. And then recording interest and fees. So by law, banks are required, when you open up a bank account, to provide you with a set of disclosures. And in those disclosures, they are required to provide you with a fee schedule that provides you with a comprehensive look of all the fees that could potentially be charged against your bank account. Now, I realize that it can be a little bit time consuming to read those disclosures because you're often pages and pages and pages of disclosures. And in fact, one of the things I'll pause and say, when you're opening up a bank account, one of the things you're signing saying, I've received the disclosures. But typically, there's an understanding that you're not able to read all of those disclosures while you're opening up the bank account. But I generally do recommend reading those disclosures at some point because they do provide important information about how your bank account is managed by the bank. But let's put that aside for a second. More really important in those set of disclosures is a fee schedule. And that is something that you should make a note of, because what the bank is disclosing to you, and they are required to disclose this to you, are what fees could potentially be charged against your account. And, there are times where you may have an understanding by your conversation with a banker that the bank account is supposed to operate a certain way, which may mean that you should not be charged a monthly service fee because maybe you set up direct deposit and the requirement in order for the fee to be waived was direct deposit. Great. You want to make sure you're checking your bank account to make sure that is the case. Things happen, human error, right? I mean, banks do not get it perfectly 100% of the time. The person who set up your account may have selected the wrong account type, and you may be charged a monthly fee. So it's critical that you're going in, you're making sure you're reviewing over your bank account, you're aware of the requirements to maintain the bank account, especially in order to avoid fees. You're very clear on that. And again, I stress, the bank is required to provide you with information that says these are the fees and here are the ways to avoid the fee. Setting up direct deposit, we love that. We all know, especially for those that, direct deposit, and there's nothing like being able to, on payday, pull up your bank account and having the money there versus having to deposit a check. Setting up online mobile access. Nowadays, when I started in banking, we used to have these little ledgers, these checkbook ledgers. Many of you may still use these or may use them. They're still offered. You can still order these. These ledgers where you record your balance, you record transactions, etc. We realize, and in fact, when you open up a bank account, it was standard that you got one of those. We realize now that those things, that people are generally not using those ledgers, because now with online banking and now with the ability to be able to set up a bank account, to be able to look at your bank account online, you can actually review transactions immediate and in real time. I still generally recommend figuring out a way to still keep up with your balances, especially when we get to the savings part, because you don't want to kind of even if you have the money, if you have the opportunity to save versus spend, we definitely encourage saving.